Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. Today, we are talking about mileage, all right? So, for 2019, mileage has increased to 58 cents per mile for business miles, which is absolutely awesome. That is a higher deduction for business owners. However, you definitely need to make sure that you are tracking your mileage. If you have not written down your beginning mileage for the year, it's still early. You can do that. So let's talk about what's involved in claiming your mileage. All right. So again, if you're using your car for your business expenses, this is business use of vehicle, then you have the ability to deduct 58 cents per mile per business mile driven, okay? And that is a business mile with a purpose. And what I mean is, number one, the government is not paying you 58 cents per mile to drive. This is a deduction from your profits. And it also means that it has to have a business purpose. Just driving your car around with a magnet on it, or if you wrap your car in your business, that does not constitute a business mile. There has to be a purpose for the trip, whether you're going to meet a client, whether you're going to deliver a product, something like that. So 58 cents per mile. Now, in that 58 cents per mile, 26 cents of that is depreciation. So when you're claiming mileage, you're claiming depreciation. You're also taking mileage in lieu of actual expenses. Now, actual expenses include things like your gas, oil changes, tire repair, insurance, those types of things. And so you can do one or the other. You can take the mileage, or you can take the actual expenses. However, when you take the actual expenses, there's no going back to taking mileage. So it's one or the other, okay? But usually mileage just simply works out better and it's easier to track, okay? So networking is also considered a business expense, a business purpose, okay? But you better document your stuff. All right. So the other mileage, moving mileage is up to 20 cents per mile. That's up from 18 cents from last year. And volunteer miles is still 14 cents per mile. So let me talk about volunteer miles real quick. Volunteer miles are things like if you're, volunteering, let's say with one of the major charitable organizations, that mileage is tax deductible. However, you have to be itemizing in order to take that benefit. Okay. So yeah, it's there, but unless you're itemizing, you won't see anything different. Now, moving miles, even though, for employees, those moving expenses for your job are no longer available. You can still have your employer reimburse you for those things under an accountable plan. Now, those, that would still be taxable to you. However, it's still, some sort of reimbursement or payment for your moving, and it's not out of pocket. Okay. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Because one of the things that has changed with tax reform that took effect January 1, 2018 is those employee business expenses are no longer available. So unless you have an employer that is reimbursing you for those things, it's a loss. It's the cost of doing business. And, for this filing, for the 2019 filing, which is the first filing under the tax plan, under the new tax reform, there are a lot of people who are going to be losing a lot of money because they were used to being able to deduct these things on their Schedule A. It's just not there anymore. So now if you fell into this bucket, then you need to be going back to your employer and perhaps renegotiating some things, having an accountable plan or something so that you can get some reimbursement for these expenses. But now back to my business owners though. Okay. I want to talk let's talk about this mileage thing. Documentation is everything. Okay. Period. When we're talking about, business owners getting audited, everybody's like, oh, it's Schedule C, you're going to get audited and all that. Well, one of the first things that gets audited is mileage. And the reason is that mileage is one of the biggest deductions in for a business. So if you don't have your miles documented, if you don't have the business purpose documented to date and all of that stuff, then those miles did not happen, and you're going to be paying that money back to the government. Okay. So this is why mileage is so important. So you can use pen and paper. If you don't have a lot of business miles, pen and paper works just fine. If you're on the road a lot, then you need to, have some, an app or something to help you track your miles. But the main thing is if you don't have these things documented, then those miles don't exist. And if you get audited, you're going to be paying that money back. And I also, again, want to reiterate, because I see people saying, well, the government pays you to drive for your business. No, the government does not pay you to drive for your business. The government allows you a deduction if you drive for your business. So that means that you can't go and stick a magnet on your car and go drive around your city 15 times and say, oh, that's driving for my business. That is absolutely incorrect. You gotta have a purpose for those miles, okay? You gotta have a purpose, whether you're going to meet a client, and even if you are going to meet a client, you need to write down who the client was and what the meeting was about. Like, these are all the things that you need to have in place so that when you claim those miles, you have the proper documentation. In the event that you do get audited and the IRS says, hey, I want to see these miles, you can go, boom, here you go, right? So that is why I really wanted to talk about this, because that increase in mileage, if you wind up having to pay that back, then, hey, that's 58 cents per mile. But also, if you don't track it, you're leaving money on the table. So nobody is telling you to not take your deduction. You absolutely take your deduction, but you absolutely need to document said deduction. Okay. That's how this whole game works. But yeah, I did have a consult with someone who was saying, okay, well, I drive around for my business. I have a magnet on my car, so those miles are tax deductible. And I had to break that down and say, no, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, so mileage is, is a great benefit for home business owners, but you gotta know, you gotta have that documentation. And also you can deduct for parking and tolls as well. And interest, let me talk about interest. Okay, so if you are still making car payments, right? And most people are, and that's okay. But if you're making car payments, the interest on your car loan in proportion to your business miles is deductible. Not all of the interest on your car loan, just the interest that is in proportion to your business miles. Car payments are not tax deductible. Okay? So if you rent a car for business, then that car rental amount is tax deductible. Now, if you rent a car and you're doing, personal stuff as well as business miles, again, that portion that relates to business. Okay. So you got to know this stuff. It's not just, I'm going to go rent a car for a week and I'm going to go do business stuff for a day and then take the rest and, go and get my life. No, it's in proportion to what you drive for business miles that a car rental is tax deductible. And no, you can't take the mileage on the rental. No, you take what you spend for the rental and deduct a portion that is related to business. Okay. So I think that is it that covers for mileage, you guys. The main thing is documentation. That's like the biggest piece of this, is documenting your business miles. Because if you don't document, didn't happen. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9:00-ish, and you can come right here at www.homebiztaxchat.com to book your 15-minute complimentary consultation and get your questions answered. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.